Good morning. Our topic today is speech organization. Now, in reading class, readers have the luxury of being able to read a passage over and over again to enhance memory. Audiences in public speaking find that the spoken word disappears almost immediately after it is uttered. Therefore, clear organization is essential to an effective public speech. If the audience is unable to comprehend your main points or follow the flow of your speech, you will be deemed less credible and effective than those speakers who have clarity of thought. Now, a good speech is organized in such a way that it is repeatedly emphasizes the structure of the speech. This is important because, unlike reading, where a person can go back again and again and find key arguments, the spoken word disappears immediately after it is uttered. Thus, clear organization developed in a formal outline is imperative. Now, there are three major principles for outlining a speech. One, having and labeling the right parts, using proper outlining form, and properly documenting sources. There are 8 steps in speech preparation. First, we have selecting the topic. Second, scanning the audience. Third, determining the specific speech purpose. Organizing and outlining the speech, gathering supporting materials, giving the speech impact through language and style, giving the speech impact through audiovisual aids, preparing for audience feedback. Let's discuss first selecting the topic. Now, the selection of the speech topic spells the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful speech. There are 3 basic principles mentioned by Brooke and Heath in selecting a topic. First, the topic to be selected is one of which you are knowledgeable. A topic you're familiar with will save you time in researching. Second, you must select the topic you are interested in. If you are to choose a topic that you are not interested in, researching on it will be a drudgery or a bore. Third, the topic to be selected must interest the audience. This will sustain their interest in the topic during your presentation. Now, narrowing the topic would meet the 5 to 10 minute time limit common to speeches. Dili kay mo abot og 1 hour. Second, scanning the audience. Audience analysis was first introduced by Aristotle in his work The Rhetoric. It is important to analyze one's audience so the topic would have an impact on them and serve its purpose. According to Aristotle, the audience would determine the end or objective of the speech. Third step is determining the purpose. There must only be one purpose of a speech. Now we know that there are 3 general types of speech purpose. First is to entertain, then to inform, and then to persuade. The specific purpose of a speech is stated in the purpose statement, which is a complete sentence which describes the objective of the speech. It will keep you become focused as you plan your speech. There are 3 criteria for a good purpose statement. First, a purpose statement should describe the results one seeks his speech to accomplish. Second, a purpose statement should be specific, meaning a speech should be worded specifically to measure your audience. And third, a purpose statement should be realistic, meaning that the contents of the speech must be attainable. fourth step is organizing and outlining the speech. As you organize your speech, keep your audience in mind. And an organized speech results in the listeners losing interest in your speech, being confused, and becoming resentful of the use of their time. So, magbasol na sila, anong naminaw na sila nimo. There are three main parts to any speech. First, the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The introduction of the speech gains the attention of the audience, gains the goodwill of the audience, and develops interest in the topic. An effective introduction captures the audience's attention. Now, the following are some of the ways in which an introduction can be made based on Adler and Rodman. First, referring to the audience. By sincerely complimenting your audience, the introduction may be effective. For example, you will say, this is a great opportunity to speak before these young would-be teachers. Okay, so with that, you can acknowledge your audience. Of course, your audience would be like, just like you, future educators. Then number two, referring to the occasion. So this refers to the event being addressed in your speech. So for example, today we celebrate a breakthrough in information technology. Okay, so you refer to whatever the occasion is. Third, referring to the relationship between audience and subject. So for example, we can discover a lot of things through our communication with nature. Then fourth, referring to something familiar to the audience. So for example, you will say, see that little girl out the street selling sampaguita? You are very much luckier than she is. Okay, so that's it. Then number five, citing a startling fact or opinion. This is a statement that surprises an audience that will catch their attention and make them sit up and listen to you. So even if the topic is old, you can enhance the old topic by a lively statement. So for example, there is now scientific evidence that cancer can be cured. So, is it a fact or an opinion? Okay. Then, by asking a question. So, you can start your introduction also by asking a rhetorical question, which will make your audience reflect rather than answer aloud. So, what is a rhetorical question? It is a question. It is a question that need not be answered because the answer is obvious. So, for example, have you ever wondered why children never lie? Okay, so you can start your introduction by asking that kind of question. Then another is by telling an anecdote. So by narrating a personal story, the interest of the audience would perk up. So for example, you will say, while appreciating the scenic view of the countryside, my attention was caught by a little girl who was helping her mother plow the fields. Okay, so it is your personal story, okay, that you narrate to them. Then, by using a quotation, you can also start your introduction by using a quotation. Sometimes this is very popular, no? Using a quotation. So using a quotation facilitates your credibility. A quotation should be followed by a precise, memorable wording. So for example, to be or not to be. Then another is by telling a joke. So we must be certain that the joke is appropriate to the audience, occasion, as well as to you as a speaker. So dili nga mag-tell a joke just for the sake of telling a joke. So we should bear in mind that our joke will not offend other people, especially your audience. Then, by setting the mood and tone of your speech, then by demonstrating the importance of your topic to your audience. So the audience will listen to you more if your topic is related to them. So this is the reason why you have to know your audience, because it is very difficult to organize a speech, to write a speech without you having knowledge of who your audience are. Okay, so that was all about introduction. Next is we have the body. The body of the speech contains the information you would want to relay. Now, body of the speech presents the main points in an organized pattern, and it presents supporting information for the main points. Next is we have conclusion. Now, to conclude your speech, it requires skill. The conclusion of a speech has to function: to review the speech and to leave the audience remember your speech by using effective final remarks. The conclusion of the speech should emphasize the key ideas of the speech, and it leaves the audience with heightened interest in the topic. Now, let's take a look at its part of speech in greater depth. What part of the speech should be developed first? What do you think? Right. We will develop first the body before fleshing out the introduction and conclusion. You might say, tinuod ni, body dapat unahon. Okay, so that is 70 to 80%. The body of the speech determines the main points of the speech. Organizing the main points in a consistent manner and outlining all the material you plan to use in the speech. So if you have the body, it's easier for you to make the introduction and, of course, your conclusion. The speaker must identify, in the body, the speaker must identify the specific purpose of the speech and create a thesis statement. Now, for example, for a specific purpose, I want to explain the 3 ways that dogs have shown themselves to be our best friend. So your thesis statement would be, dogs have earned their place as our best friends by working with people, by protecting people and property, and by showing love and devotion to people. And now, what are your main points? Dogs work with people. Dogs protect people and their property. And dogs show love and devotion to people. Now let's talk about types of organizational patterns. Okay, so we have chronological order. So this is the order in which things happen in time. Then we have spatial order. This is the organization of things according to their position in space. Then we have topical order. This is a pattern of organization in which a topic is broken down into parts that are rearranged in an order determined by the speaker. Okay, so by topic. Then we have climactic order. So it arranges items according to their order of importance. Then, of course, we have cause and effect order. So it is when information is arranged to show causes or conditions and the effects or results of those causes or conditions. Then we have compare and or contrast order. So this is when items of information are organized to show similarities and or differences between the items. That was body. Now let's proceed to introduction, and this is 10 to 15% of your speech. There are three purposes to an introduction. First, get the attention of the audience, gain the goodwill of the audience, and develop interest in the topic. Okay, so when we talk of goodwill, this is the audience respect or positive feelings for the speaker. Interest refers to the involvement or concern your audience shows in the topic. We have attention-getting devices. So we have mentioned that earlier. We could use a startling statement, ask a rhetorical question, tell a story, use a dramatic, powerful, and or interesting quotation, and personal reference. Okay, so in personal reference, this is by giving a personal reference to, in the introduction, the speaker relates the speech topic directly to the audience experiences. So this is the way to get the attention of your audience. Then finally, wrap it all up in the conclusion. Okay, so conclusion is 10 to 15% also of your speech. So this conclusion provide a break light, recap main points or relevance, wrap up with a clincher statement, a memory aid or support device, and are great to use here. Okay, then use clear, polished ending. Now, the purpose of a conclusion is to 1. Emphasize the key idea or ideas in the speech, and to leave the attention of the audience on a high note. So, dili nga biyaan mo siya sa ere, murag siya, namiya sa ere. Kidding aside. Summary. So, this is a short restatement of the key information in a larger work. Then, in the conclusion, you will be talking also the recommendation. So, this is a short statement that tells the audience the specific behavior you want them to follow. No? Then, the steering ending. So, this is an ending that helps you intensify the emotions or feelings you want the audience to experience. So, unsa may gusto nimo mahitabo sa imong audience. Unsay gusto nimo ma-experience sa imong audience. Okay, so how are you going to give your speech substance? Okay. Now, you have to use supporting material, or you have to have supporting material. So, these are the data that you use to back up your points. No, it includes support devices, visual aids, and vocal citations. Okay, so support devices is basically a way of presenting your research using these methods, like examples, anecdotes, analogies, quotes, statistics, definitions, compare and or contrast, and narration. Then you have to establish the credibility of your support devices. So by using recognizable organizations and people, or you have to be sure to tell us about the person or organization. So you have to tell your audience about the specific person or the specific organization. let's talk about guidelines for visual aids. We have this what we call CVS principle. So this is a prescription for a great visual aid. So we have C for clarity. It should be easily understood. Visibility, at least 2-inch letters, and simplicity. So this is the rule of 7 words per 7 lines. So in ana ra dapat kung prepare mo visual aid. So unlike, like for example, when you create or when you prepare a PowerPoint presentation wherein which in your slide nga inyo rang copy and paste ang sa Word, so your slide is very crowded to the point nga dili na mabasa kung unsa na ang sulat dinha sa slide ninyo. Then another is you have to follow the FUR principle. So FUR, help others, follow, understand, and remember. Then we have vocal citations. So this is to give credit to your sources. Okay, so failure to provide proper credit is plagiarism. And we know for a fact that it is a crime. Now, a quote is equal to a vocal. You need to have a vocal citation when you use it in your speech. For example, Mark Twain said it best when he said, and I quote, "It takes 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech." End of quote. So that's how you give a vocal citation. Vocal citations include the name of the source, so you have to cite the source first. For example, in the July 9 issue of the Daily News Gazette, 80% of all college professors were reported as saying that students do not use correct vocal citations. Okay, so every statistics we have to use vocal citations. The next is preparing for audience feedback. So of course, you have to prepare yourself kung unsa man ang feedback sa audience when you give a speech. So you should be open to both constructive and destructive criticisms of by your audience when delivering a speech. You have to put your best foot forward. Okay, so speech delivery guidelines. Rehearse. So the best way to rehearse is to record your practice session. Through this, you will know where you would need improvement. So I am also like this. When I have a task to deliver a speech, when I rehearse, I have to record my practice, and then I listen to the speech or I listen to the recording so that I would know asa ko dapat mag-improve, or if for example ning lapas ko sa time na gihatag sa ako, then that's the time that I have to check my notes or my speech so that I can be prepared in time of the delivery or the actual delivery of my speech. Then second is deliver. So on the day of the speech presentation, you have to be relaxed. One way to do this is to wear clothes that you are comfortable in. So dili nga while nag-stand ka in front of the people or in front of your audience, nagsige ka og prepare sa imong or nagsige ka pagkuri-kuri sa imong clothes because you're not comfortable, or nagsige ka fidget because you're not comfortable. Okay, so people would want to listen to you rather than look at your clothes. Okay. Okay, so questions.